if you are selling on Shopee and Lazada right now, whichever country that you may come from, Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, Taiwan, I've got clients in all these places. I think one of the biggest challenge that we are facing right now here is the Shopee fees is getting higher and higher. Some clients are actually being taken about 20%. I mean, imagine if you're doing something that you're only trading, you're not the manufacturer, it eats up so deeply into your margin. You can't survive. But the problem here is when it comes to Shopee selling, in countries like Malaysia, Indonesia, Thailand, even Taiwan that we are observing right now, because of the direction that Shopee is taking into, it's evolved into a super app itself. It has built an environment, an ecosystem that is really getting all the users to stick to them. Because, like when I first started on Shopee, as in like helping brands to onboard on Shopee, that was about pre-pandemic time. I started working with a few clients, and that's the very beginning stage. And eventually the pandemic was really the boom where a lot of brands jump on it. And eventually that's where Shopee started evolve into a different direction. Because at one point we were observing Taiwan as probably a potential example on how the e-commerce scene in Southeast Asia was evolving into. Because at one point, I mean, e-commerce marketplace in Taiwan started way earlier. And then eventually the branded websites started coming up, and the consumers there were pretty okay to switch over to e-commerce website. But when it comes to, like Southeast Asia, a lot of my clients are having hard time converting the Shopee users into their website to buy because of the frontiers, or so-called the, like all the benefits that Shopee has built within their environment that is really getting the audience to stick to it. So we realize it's not as straightforward. In fact, over the past few years, I've helped a few brands trying to navigate how do we move away from Shopee and start building our own e-commerce website. I must say, the success rate is not great, but nonetheless, it is still possible. So if you're facing this problem, I want to give you a few angles to look into. But of course, it really depends on what kind of product that you are selling. I'm only giving you some examples. I will never reveal my clients' brands or business. That's beyond, that's definitely against my ethics. But then again, I hope that this video or this, like sharing here gives you some angles or some ideas for you to look into. First, the most successful case when we tried to move away from Shopee to e-commerce website was to really switch off right away. I've got a client, because the thing here is when it comes to Shopee, when you have both places, when you appear on both places, people will always opt for Shopee or Lazada first because they have got their own benefit to shop from there. I mean, one thing, people can have, Shopee has got this, buy now, pay later. This is one. And then whatever, all these are the reasons where people will buy from there because it's so easy to buy. So going to your website, you need to register, you need to sign up, you need to do whatever. People will feel that it's a hassle. That's what is happening in most of the countries in Southeast Asia right now. But then again, in fact, if you want to really successfully turn your thing over to your own website, the easiest way and the most powerful way is to really suck it up. But having said that, it's not for everyone. A few of my clients tried that, but let me give you some example. If you are selling something that is perfectly competitive, meaning there are 1,000 replacements on Shopee and Lazada, and then you just have it. And then this may not be the best solution for you because without a presence on Shopee or Lazada, meaning you are not able to be in front of your audiences, you won't be able to face the customers, the consumers, and you won't be able to sell. So if you are only having your own website, and it's not going to work for you because, people can always find the alternative to buy from someone else, especially if you are doing only trading that a lot of people are selling the same thing as you, then this may not be the best. But if you have your own product, your own brand, you have built your brand over the past few years or even many years, that you have your presence, you are being admired, you're being respected, this is really something that you really want to consider because it works. Because to be frank, if you're already having an established brand, going to Shopee or Lazada is just a place for people to buy. It's not a place for you to build new customer. Your customer base are supposed to be yours. So another thing to consider here is when you're selling on Shopee, they don't give you a lot of information. You don't get the email address of the customers. You don't get the phone number of the customers. I'm not sure about phone number, but it doesn't make it easy for you to extract the data to import into yours to build long-term relationship. So a lot of people wants to go to the website because they want to build this or long-term relationship. But like I say, if you have a brand, this could be a route that you want to consider. I mean, of course, if you want to consider that, you may want to get a lot of things ready first. Like, for example, when we help a couple brands, I think about a year or two ago. So in order to switch things over, we need to make sure that we are not just having an e-commerce website, but we need to have an e-commerce system in place. Now, what do you mean by e-commerce system? First, you need to have a website. That's the first thing. Second, you need to have a built-in, probably if you can, a loyalty system. How do you get these people to stick? And then the third thing, which is the most important thing over here, is the nurturing system. Email is the easiest, but if you want to, but even email, you need to actually build a lot of emails. Like when it comes to all these automation, like meaning a customer come in, you want to put them into a loop, you need to build an email marketing system in place whereby how often you want to email them, what do you want to email them for, and all these are the things that you need to start planning. We need to have it in place before we get started, even as bare bone, as simple as possible. Everything has to be set up correctly. And of course, if you are using some other channels like WhatsApp communication and others, you definitely need to look into. You need to start planning beforehand. And then the loyalty system, it makes a huge difference. Because even if you are actually doing a hybrid right now, this could be a very important reason why people would consider buying on your website instead of marketplace. So these are the few things of what I call the e-commerce system. So that's the easiest way. Now, the other way that some of my clients are using, which is the second method that a lot of people are using here, is they use their Shopee as a marketing platform, and then they build recurring customers on their website. So how does it work? I mean, this only works for brands that would actually have these people to come back and buy from you, repeatedly. I've got a client who is in this like adult diapers industry. It's beautiful. So what we can pay a lot to get front-end customers, but eventually once they started buying, they will stick to the brand because it's very difficult. I mean, I wouldn't say very, very difficult, but if they like the product, it's not easy for them to switch as long as the price is sweet. Now, what we do here is we use Shopee as a front end. We run ads on Shopee. We run Facebook ads to drive people to Shopee. Well, once they buy, we build in a way, a system to bring them back to the website. So what we do here is we sell slightly cheaper on the website because, well, we're not paying 20% to Shopee. We can definitely give the money back to the consumers on our own website. So we give them back. And second thing is we have a loyalty system in place because the beauty about getting people to buy on our website is we are able to get their data. And with the data, we can do a lot of things like I mentioned just now, email marketing, WhatsApp marketing. These are all the ways that we can actually start nurturing the audience and make them buy more from us, or even to turn them into advocates. So that could be another strategy that we can discuss, the loyalty system strategy. But with all this in place, we are able to, it's not as fast or as easy as it seems, or as I probably share it over here. But over time, we can start building we start with about 3% conversion, 5% conversion. Now we are about like close to 10% of our total revenue as in e-commerce revenue coming from the website. We started at 1 to 2%, but now we are close to 10%. That takes about a year time, but it's totally possible. So this is one of the easiest way of so-called, if you do not have a brand, if you're selling as a competitive, really like a product that has a lot of competition on, you need to be there, but you want to at the same time be your own website, this could be another way that you can actually look into because it's easier to start. You just need to have all these elements in place, very similar to the first option. But then again, you have to identify and understand that, look, Shopee is for this and my website is really for this. You need to have all this nurturing plan in place. You need to start executing it, optimizing it, and making it work. Now, the next thing is, this is really something that a lot of my clients are doing right now because they don't really have a plan yet. But having said that, if you're selling something that you believe you want to build a brand, my client, what we do here is we use website as a main advertising platform, meaning when we run ads, we don't drive ads to drive people to Shopee. We run ads to drive people to our own website. Now, the reason why we want to do that is because we want to let people know that, look, we have a website, but on the website itself, we let them know that, look, we have got our Shopee, we have got our Lazada, excuse me. You can choose to buy from either one of them. But we also tell them that, look, it's cheaper to buy on our own website, but the choice is up to you because we make money everywhere anyway. But then again, the reason why we do that, we after we observe for a few brands, we realize it makes sense. Why? Especially if you're selling something that, yes, you have got competitors on Shopee. When you do this, you actually establish yourself as the better brand compared to those who are only selling on Shopee or Lazada. I mean, it's actually quite a thing. I mean, we didn't thought that it's gonna be an important thing, but eventually it was. Because if you drive people to, I mean, let's say if you sell something, let's say a phone casing, for example, if you drive people directly to Shopee, people will start browsing on Shopee and they may not buy from you. Eventually, they will not, because first they don't know you, and eventually, when you bring them to a sea of choices, then eventually they will start browsing and they forgot who brought them in. That's a very important thing. But if you drive people to the website first, when people come to your website, they will realize that, okay, now this is a brand. But of course, you need to make sure that your website is well done, not some crappy website. So, okay, now first they got introduced to you as a brand. You are a brand. Even though you sell something that they can find replacement on Shopee, but they will still treat you as a brand. And you have the opportunity to give all these promises or your differentiations, your USPs to them on the front end before they click on go to Shopee and jump into the sea of choices and all that. We see a huge difference because at one point we experimented just drive people to Shopee because we have this CPAS. The result was really not as good as compared to we drive people to website and then we let them choose where we want to buy. So when it comes to this, you need to really do a different kind of monitoring where we don't just monitor the sales on Shopee, but on overall compared to the amount that we are spending on marketing overall. If you're doing some other advertising, you need to calculate that in as well. And we measure our ROI based on that, on a monthly or even weekly basis. So that's how we can start building, your own e-commerce website over time. This is something that is quite important because we have to understand Shopee's fee is going to get higher and higher. We can't avoid that. But the thing here is it's not as easy and straightforward to switch over to e-commerce website. So that's why a strategy is important. But like I said, I can only share with you those angles or those examples that I have experienced. Tailoring a strategy, like I mentioned just now, you have got so many different elements that will have to go into, like the nurturing system, the loyalty system, the marketing system. How do you want to run your ads? How much do you want to allocate the budget? Which one works best for you in terms of your business industry, your criteria, your situation, your brand positioning? What could be the best solution for you? So these are all the things that we need to discuss. So just in case you need help exploring the best strategy to navigate your next strategy to, to balance up whether you want to run it on Shopee or how do you drive a strategy to balance and, to reduce your dependency on Shopee and start building your own website or your own presence. I would recommend you start with scanning this QR code. Let's book a 30-minute discussion first. I think it's good enough for us to get started. Like I said, eventually what we're going to do here is in the first meeting, I mean, this is just you and I, not with somebody else. First, we're going to explore based on your current situation, like what industry you're in, at what level you are your readiness is, and what is your timeline, like how soon you want to switch over, what is your KPI, like maybe now 90% of your revenue are coming from Shopee. You want to reduce it to about 70% in a year to come. So what are the options that we have? What are the strategies that you're already using right now? And what are the other, like enhancement that we can actually explore moving from where you are right now? So those are the things that we would get started with. Let's have a first call first. I may say 1,000 things, but eventually in the first call itself, I would definitely be able to understand your situation and give you some recommendations. Then you can always go back to execute. But of course, you want to work with me ongoing basis to do different things to execute this together. Yes, we have the options to get started, but for this, because it really depends on the timeline. Sometimes you just need to know the idea, and then after that, you need to go back to plan for maybe a couple of months, and then whenever you're ready, you do something, and then you come back. Because I don't know about your urgency, so it's entirely up to you. So yeah, if that's something that you want to explore, have a second opinion to look at your situation, to give you some recommendations based on my experience. I mean, I've been working on this for the past many years, so I probably would give you some useful guidance or recommendations based on what we have. So yeah, that's something that you're looking for. Then scan this QR code. Let's have a quick chat. Let's get started from there.